Imagine taking a 2.5-ton sport utility vehicle and pushing it around the Nürburgring in just 7 minutes and 22 seconds. That is not a multi-million-dollar hypercar. That is not a stripped-out track toy with slick tires. That is the new Xiaomi YU7 GT. Today, we are looking at a vehicle that completely rewrites the rulebook for what an electric performance SUV is supposed to be. Xiaomi started making phones, then they made smart home devices, then they built the SU7 sedan and broke the internet. Now, they have taken everything they learned and applied it to a high-performance luxury SUV, and the result is nothing short of absolute madness. We are talking about over 1,000 horsepower, an ultra-high voltage architecture, and a design language that looks like it drove straight off a concept car stage. Since I do not have the keys to this thing just yet, we are going to dive deep into the specs, the engineering, and the sheer audacity of what Xiaomi has built here, and by the end of this video, you will understand exactly why legacy automakers should be absolutely terrified. Let us start with the design, because when you look at the footage of this car, the first thing that hits you is the stance. Xiaomi calls it a warhorse posture, and when you see the car in the metal, you completely understand why. In a world where every electric SUV is trying to look like a smooth, bubbly, aerodynamic jelly bean to maximize efficiency, the YU7 GT goes in the exact opposite direction. It has a massively long hood, a wide, aggressive track width, and a fastback roofline that gives it the silhouette of a classic Grand Tourer, just jacked up on lifted suspension. The proportions are just perfect. It does not look like a raised hatchback, which is what so many electric crossovers end up looking like. It looks like a proper, muscular vehicle. The front fascia is incredibly sharp, with active aerodynamic intakes that actually do work to cool the massive brakes and the dual motors, and the rear ends with a full-width light bar that seamlessly integrates into the wide planted hips of the car. It is elegant, but it is also deeply menacing. It commands attention in a way that very few electric vehicles manage to do, and it proves that you can make an SUV look genuinely exciting without resorting to fake plastic cladding or overly aggressive fake vents. But a car like this is not just about looking fast, it has to deliver, and this is where the engineering gets absolutely crazy. Under the skin, the YU7 GT is packing Xiaomi's latest dual-motor powertrain, featuring their in-house developed V8S Evo electric motors. When you combine the front and rear motors, this SUV is pushing out a staggering 738 kilowatts of power. If you are keeping track at home, that is over 1,000 horsepower in a vehicle that weighs over 2.5 tons. The result is a 0 to 100 kilometers per hour time of just 2.92 seconds. To put that into perspective, that is supercar territory. It is faster than a Porsche 911 Turbo S off the line in a family hauler, but straight line speed is easy when you have electric motors. The real magic, and the reason this car set that insane 7-minute and 22-second lap time at the Nürburgring, is in the chassis tuning. Xiaomi has equipped this thing with an advanced active suspension system, rear wheel steering, and a highly sophisticated torque vectoring setup that literally fights the physics of a heavy SUV. It rotates, it grips, and it carries speed through corners in a way that simply should not be possible for a vehicle of this size. It is a massive middle finger to the idea that heavy electric SUVs have to drive like boats. Of course, you cannot deliver 1,000 horsepower to the pavement without a serious electrical backbone, and this is where Xiaomi's background as a tech giant really shines. The YU7 GT is built on an ultra-high voltage platform operating at nearly 900 volts. Specifically, it uses a massive 101.7 kilowatt-hour ternary lithium battery pack. But it is not just about the capacity, it is about the architecture. This battery supports a 5.2C high-rate charging architecture. For those who do not speak battery engineering, that means this car can accept charging speeds of over 500 kilowatts. When you plug this into a compatible ultra-fast charger, you are not just topping up, you are practically filling the tank in the time it takes you to grab a coffee. It completely eliminates the biggest drawback of high-performance cars, which is usually terrible efficiency and slow charging. And because of the incredible efficiency of the V8S Evo motors and the aerodynamic design, the car still manages to deliver a maximum range of over 700 kilometers on the CLTC cycle. So you get a track car that can also comfortably cross a continent on a single charge. It is the ultimate one-car solution. Step inside the cabin and the tech company DNA is everywhere. but it is done with a level of luxury that catches you off guard. Xiaomi has managed to blend high-end, tactile materials with a completely screen-dominated, hyper-digital environment. The seats are heavily bolstered, wrapped in premium leather and suede, holding you in place when you are pushing the car to its limits, but they are also heated, ventilated, and massaging for when you are just cruising down the highway. The centerpiece is, of course, the massive infotainment display powered by Xiaomi's proprietary operating system. Because they make phones and smart home devices, the integration is flawless. Your phone connects instantly, the interface is as smooth as a flagship tablet, and the voice assistant actually understands natural conversation rather than just rigid commands. But what really elevates the interior is the attention to detail. The switchgear has a satisfying, heavy click to it. The ambient lighting is subtle and sophisticated, not an overwhelming discotheque. And the sheer amount of physical space, thanks to the dedicated electric vehicle platform, means that despite its sporty intentions, 5 adults can sit in absolute comfort with plenty of room left over for luggage in the front trunk and the rear cargo area. So, what do we do with all of this information? How do we process a car that has the performance of a hypercar, the practicality of a family SUV, the charging speed of a dedicated commuter, and the tech integration of a flagship smartphone? The reality is the Xiaomi YU7 GT represents a massive shift in the global automotive landscape. For decades, the rules of car making were set by legacy manufacturers in Europe, Japan, and America. They decided what a performance SUV should be, and they decided what it should cost. Xiaomi, coming from the tech world, looked at those rules and simply decided to ignore them. They packed in the most powerful motors they could build, the fastest charging battery they could source, and the smartest software they could write, and they priced it to completely undercut the established German luxury brands. This is not just a new car, this is a disruption. It forces every other automaker to look at their own lineup and realize that they are suddenly falling behind on performance, technology, and value. It is rare that a vehicle comes along and completely changes your perspective on what is possible in a specific segment, but this is exactly what the YU7 GT does. It proves that the transition to electric vehicles is not just about saving the environment or getting good fuel economy. It is about unlocking a level of performance and technological integration that we could never have achieved with internal combustion engines. It is bold, it is unapologetic, and it is incredibly exciting to see a new player step into the ring and immediately throw a punch this hard. Overall, this is an amazing car, and one day I'll review it in person, so subscribe and stay tuned.